I was born into a family where love was measured in chores, and care was defined by how well I could serve others. While my friends talked about birthday gifts and vacations, I was scrubbing dishes, ironing clothes, and sweeping floors and sweeping floors. My parents never saw me as their daughter. They saw me as their unpaid maid. From as far back as I can remember, my daily routine wasn't filled with laughter or play. Instead, it was, get up and clean the kitchen, wash your brother's clothes, make tea for the guests. You don't sit here. You haven't finished dusting. If I dared to sit and study, my mother would snap. Books won't feed you. Learn how to work in a house. That's your future. My siblings, on the other hand, lived a completely different reality. My brother had freedom, friends, pocket money, and time to chase his dreams. My sister, though lazy, was pampered, told she was delicate and needed protection. And me? I was told that being useful meant being invisible, working silently, not asking for love or recognition. I remember once, on my 16th birthday, I tried to bake myself a small cake from leftover ingredients. My father saw me mixing the batter and said coldly, "Don't waste food. If you want to celebrate, celebrate by cleaning the house better." That night, I cried myself to sleep, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I was born in a family where affection was rationed and labor was endless. But inside me burned a quiet determination. If my parents saw me as a maid, the world would see me as something else. I promised myself. One day, they'll regret the way they treated me. Life inside that house was suffocating, but my dreams refused to die. Every night, after finishing my chores, I would sneak into my room with old secondhand books I had borrowed from neighbors. Furs, business, economics, communication, psychology, anything that could help me escape the prison I called home. Whenever my parents found me reading, they mocked me. "What's the point? You think you'll become a big businesswoman? Stop dreaming and learn how to cook properly. That's what will get you a husband." I didn't argue. I couldn't. Every word against them would be punished with more work, more humiliation. But their words fueled me. Each insult was a reminder that I needed to fight harder. At 18, I found a part-time job at a small local company. My parents were furious. "You're embarrassing us. A daughter working outside? That's shameful." But I stood firm. I said I wanted to help with expenses, though the truth was, I wanted freedom. With every paycheck, I secretly saved money, hiding it in a tin box under my bed. I worked harder than anyone else at that little company. I learned how contracts worked, how negotiations were handled, how clients could be won or lost by the smallest detail. I soaked it all in like a sponge. Years passed, and step by step, I climbed higher. By 24, I got my first big opportunity, an interview at a multinational firm. I remember that morning clearly. My mother had woken me at dawn and ordered me to mop the floor before leaving. My clothes for the interview almost got ruined from dust. As I rushed out the door, my father shouted, "Don't come back crying when they reject you. You're nothing without us." But I didn't come back crying. The job offer that would change everything. Beauty, thing. At the new company, I was nobody at first. Just a junior employee lost in the sea of corporate suits. But I knew one thing. I was not going to remain invisible anymore. I worked late hours, volunteered for projects others avoided, and built a reputation for being reliable, creative, and unstoppable. Then came the golden chance. Our company had a shot at winning a massive client deal worth $4 million. It was competitive, with other firms fighting for it. Nobody thought I could handle it. I was young, inexperienced, and unproven, but I begged my manager to let me try. Fine, he said reluctantly, but if you fail, this will be on you. I poured every ounce of my soul into preparing. Days and nights blurred. I researched the client's needs, designed a unique pitch, and practiced until my voice shook. The day of the presentation, I walked into the boardroom trembling, but when I began speaking, something inside me clicked. All those years of being silenced at home, all those moments I wasn't allowed to have a voice, they erupted now. I spoke with confidence, with passion, with conviction. When I finished, the room was silent. The CEO of the client company leaned forward, smiled, and said words that changed my life forever. "Oh, brilliant. This is exactly what we need. Congratulations. You've won us over." We signed the contract. A $4 million victory. Back at the office, my CEO, A man worth hundreds of millions called me to the front of the team. In front of everyone, he said, "This young woman just closed one of the biggest deals of the year. She is the future of this company." The applause, the pride, the respect. It was everything my parents had denied me for years. For the first time in my life, I wasn't a maid. I was a professional, a winner, a name people admired. News traveled fast. My parents, who once spat on my dreams, suddenly changed their tone. Relatives began calling me saying, "Your mother is so proud of you. Your father brags about you to everyone." Proud? Bragging? These were the same people who once told me I was nothing. One evening, my parents invited me home. They had prepared a fancy dinner, smiling awkwardly, pretending as if years of neglect had never happened. My father said, "We always knew you had potential. We're glad you proved us right." My mother added, "Everything we did was to make you strong. You should thank us." I stared at them, my chest heavy with memories of being treated like a servant, of crying alone in dark corners, of longing for their love. But instead of exploding, I smiled calmly. "I know," I said softly. "You didn't make me strong. You tried to break me. But I became strong in spite of you. And I don't owe you thanks. I owe myself everything." Their smiles faded. Silence filled the room. That night, I walked out of their house for the last time, not as their maid, not as their obedient daughter, but as a woman who had built her own destiny. My revenge wasn't shouting, wasn't anger, wasn't cruelty. My revenge was success. My revenge was freedom. My revenge was the look in their eyes when they realized what they had lost. And that, more than anything, was sweeter than any apology they could ever give.